Hey, welcome back, guys. Power Book 2's second episode was a lot to digest following a solid premiere. The storylines are really beginning to take shape, particularly Tate and Carrie's narratives. The latter was closer to incrimination than she's ever known, while the former has been gifted a new avenue that brings him that much closer to career reclamation. Above all else, the episode was about closure and Tariq's first official step into independence following his mother's forced departure on his behalf. I'm here to break it all down in typical Top 10 WTF fashion. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. And lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things Power. Here we go. WTF moment number 10, Dreams and Nightmares. The episode starts with Tariq battling the ravages of his mind via the dream realm. Our series lead finds himself in the very same boiler room where he ended up after the first murder, the slaying of Officer Raymond Jones. Reek even hears the utterings of his mother during that first fiasco, where she guided her green son through the process of covering up evidence for the sake of protection. Reek cries out to his distant mother, to no avail, only to be reminded by Kanan's apparition that Tariq made things this way, and fear is not an option from here on. The slain Power legend then challenges his former protege to burn that phone, and ultimately any hope of his mother coming to his aid. Ironically, the phone would have been burned in the same furnace that housed Tariq's prior sins. It was a great way to foreshadow Tariq's date with the inevitable, the permanent severance of his final tie to Tasha's memory. WTF moment number 9, the system versus Yaz St. Patrick. Tariq is picked up by the police and urged to accompany them to the station. Upon arrival, Reek discovers, courtesy of Sax, that his sister Yaz was in a mild car accident with their grandmother, who'd been drinking prior to abruptly transporting her. Estelle conveys the stresses of the many St. Patrick tragedies to justify her alcoholism. Then, the two learn that Yaz will be taken briefly into foster care due to the incident, a state of affairs that really drives home some harsh realities for Tariq. His family has been forever changed in large part due to his devious choices, and he's beginning to reap the poisonous consequences of those decisions. WTF moment number 8, Sideshow Guap. Mecca summons Kane and questions his motives further in order to assess potential business with him. The new drug lord additionally questions Kane on his family ties and business philosophy. Then, Guap surprisingly crashes the clandestine meeting, documenting it in full via IG Live, a maneuver we've seen from him in the past. After a brief checking, Mecca grabs hold of Guap and proceeds to crack his fingers one by one while chiding the elder Tejada on his poor choice of association. He subsequently kicks them both out following the performative display. WTF moment number 7, Misdirection. Detective Whitman requests Tariq's presence for a brief interrogation about Jabari's death and his potential suspects. Whitman brings him into Jabari's office, the last place he would meet with his late professor prior to being forced to remove him. The detective gears his questioning towards Carrie, to which Tariq unveils the blow-up at Lauren's dinner gathering from season 1, an hilarious affair that found the two professors taking unprofessional digs at one another. Whitman seems overly enthralled by the revelation, and Tariq clandestinely removes the heat from himself, at least for now. WTF moment number 6, Siamese Cats. Power is no stranger to eroticism, but Effie's reveal as a bi student was as unexpected as it was steamy. The collegiate trap queen has her way with a fellow co-ed to a rather dope soundtrack, which if anyone finds, please link me below. That is, until the two women are interrupted by Brayden, who's been assigned to complete the drop to Effie. They share a brief hilarious exchange, and the younger Weston departs, unaware of the chaos that would soon follow. WTF moment number 5, stepped on equals stomped out. Effie promptly contacts Brayden in the immediate aftermath of his departure and informs him that the drugs he dropped off were indeed fake. Brayden meets up with Effie at a confrontation with one of her primeras and gets into a violent exchange with the pusher's muscle. If that wasn't enough, once Tariq shows up with Diana, things nearly hit the fan again as he's forced to break up a cat fight due to the false drug charges against Di and her family. WTF moment number 4, An Arcane Plot. Kane meets with Mecca and details his scheme to work under his employ. During their exchange, it's revealed that Kane was the true saboteur of Monet's drugs in order to achieve two goals: prove himself worthy to Mecca, and most importantly, get back into Monet's good graces and feel needed once more. I'll be going more into Kane later this week, so stay tuned. WTF moment number 3, Charred Memories. As it would turn out, Tariq did not plan his phone on Carrie, but instead kept it in order to come to terms with its destruction. He views a final apparition of his mother's sobbing face and subsequently tosses the device in the flames, cementing his newfound standalone journey for good. WTF moment number 2, Savior Exposed. Carrie contacts Zeke following her denial of Davis McLean's services. However, Zeke would miss that call due to his pussy preoccupation. The police abruptly intrude on his session though, forcing Zeke downtown for questioning. If that wasn't enough, his jump-off then records the fiasco, creating a possible scandal that could jeopardize the draft pick to be. It's not looking good for our favorite dumbass, y'all. And WTF moment number 1, Reconciliation. Monet spends most of this episode dodging the feelings that Can You Stand the Rain by New Edition inspired sporadically. Then, her trash cans are found knocked over, creating an ever deeper realization in the matriarch. Upon confronting her past, it turns out that all of these maneuvers were Mecca's way of practicing romanticism before our very eyes, and he extends an olive branch in hopes of reconciliation. Monet discourages any future relationship between them, but does gleefully take Mecca's card at the episode's conclusion. Some lingering thoughts before we end today's video. The theme of this episode was the idea of selfless acts versus self-benefit. In the case of Tariq, he chose not to frame his lovely professor with the phone that would have surely jeopardized her liberty in society. However, the self-benefit he gained from such restraint was destroying the phone altogether, robbing the police of major evidence in their investigation against Jabari's killer, and alleviating himself of the pain of losing his mother. She's gone, and at least foreseeably, she won't be returning to save him. He'll have to incorporate the many official, and yes, unofficial lessons he received from his crime family in order to come out from under this catastrophe. And he's got it. After all, he's the new ghost, right? Right? Having a lover makes you weak, but having a partner makes you strong. That's a deep quote, drenched in that motherly wisdom that Monet conveyed during season 1 in schooling Diana using Ramirez as a learning tool. Be that as it may, this dichotomy, outlined by the matriarch, is a parallel to her own captivation with Mecca, the lover, and obligations to Lorenzo, the partner. Interesting how she's about to fall victim to the very dynamic she's warning her daughter against. But this wouldn't be power without the poetry. This episode did a great job of displaying the Tejada children's dwindling respect for Monet's leadership. Her laughing off a critical blunder via the stepped-on drugs, plus Drew's subtle undermining of her plan through those Zeke revelations, have provided yet another rung in the ladder of liberation for Kane's younger siblings. And let's not forget, her forthcoming rekindled love affair with Mecca will only add to the chinks in her armor from her children's perspective, and may be the very instance that divides her family for good. Carrie ironically places herself as Tariq's moral inferior in this episode. He has a chance to burn her and chooses the selfless act over selfish gain. Carrie, on the other hand, places Zeke in the direct line of fire when faced with legal pressure. Selfish gain over selflessness. The chickens are coming home to roost in many ways for our beloved professor, and hopefully, Tate's charm and McLean's expertise will be enough to rescue her from Whitman's warpath. Speaking of Whitman, the detective is legally motivated, no doubt, but he also has a personal axe to grind with Carrie following their former association and encounters. However things ended between them, he seems dead set on getting revenge, and this murder scenario couldn't be more sweeter for the allegedly scorned lawman. I mean, just look at this nigga's eyes during Tariq's interrogation. Either the coke was pure white that morning, or this man is out to settle a score. We shall see either way. The stage has been set for Tariq and Tate's pending trade-off, the retrieval of his sister from the state in exchange for information against Tate's congressional rival Sweeney. They'll surely be expounding on this alliance come episode 3. And lastly, We finally got a Simon Stern sighting in this episode after a pretty lengthy layoff for our favorite antagonist. He serves as a conduit for Tate's storyline, given their political history, and we'll see how he affects it going forward. And that'll do it for this one. What were your thoughts on Selfless Acts? Be sure to drop me your opinions in the comments below. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are Power fans, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.